What's up, everybody? You can blame this video on the internet at large because I'm actually just kind of tired, wanted to chill out and watch something, and can't find anything but stupid videos right now, so I figure, why not just make a stupid video? Quid pro quo, yo. At least now we got comedians laughing about the whole India supposedly landing on the moon thing. I did a little short video about that, but I didn't cover one part of it. Like Joey did, I covered the cardboard cutout yellow highlighter coloring. But here was their reasoning saying that this was such a momentous event that they were landing at the south pole of the moon. And they had big scientist guy on the television explaining this to us peons that, oh, on the south pole of the moon, there's ice. So now that we've figured out how to land at the south pole of the moon, we can build a moon station there and transform the ice into hydrogen and then fly to Mars. That's a great idea. The Earth's only, 70% surface is water, and wouldn't it be a great idea to perfect this technology on Earth first? Well, they already have, but they've kept it tucked away for at least 40, 50 years. There was that guy back in the 80s that a local news team that actually did news back in the day interviewed this guy that he had built a water-powered car and was driving it down the road, fully working, prototype. And then, after showing off his toy, he, of course, disappeared himself. But unfortunately, for the last 100 years, big mega corporations have been the only people that hire engineers, so they own all the patents. And we definitely now 100% have this technology. I mean, if you're a multimillionaire that has just money to blow, they hook you up with a hydrogen powered car that does over 200 miles an hour. I mean, come on, 1,000-mile range on a tank of water. This world has got its priorities so messed up. And these megalomaniacs are already just filthy rich, but that's not enough. I need to do a video on Machiavelli and the Prince. Anyway, my last few videos have been kind of weird topics, so why break the streak? I was riding my bike earlier today. Anybody that rides may have noticed this before. Sometimes when you ride a naked bike, something that doesn't have a windscreen to it, there are days where the air basically doesn't offer hardly any resistance to your body. And then on another day, it will your upper body will feel like a sail. And I think I'm, just thin and thick air days. Today just happened to be a thick air day to where I was really, fighting the wind a lot. Especially when you pass a semi, you get this big rush of hard air. Then there's other days where you just slip right through and you hardly even notice the wind at all. And I am a scientifically minded person. It's not contingent on temperature. It can happen in both warm and cold air. And it's not that I don't know which way the wind's blowing. You can look at the side of the road and see which way the wind is blowing by the trees. But it's something that seriously had me stumped for a while because I can't find a rhyme or reason to it. And it is a definite, tangible thing. And something you won't notice unless you're trying to cut through the air at 70 miles an hour. But the air is definitely thicker and thinner at times. And that may not be molecularly speaking. That, it's probably the same amount of nitrogen and oxygen and carbon. Well, carbon dioxide is what, a 0.00005%. It's ridiculous. Anyway, if you were to analyze the air on the different days, it would probably be the exact same molecular makeup on both days. I would assume. That's just my assumption on that part. So let's just assume that the molecular makeup is the same. Then what is causing that difference? I've also thought about the barometric pressure, but it usually rains if the barometric pressure drops that low, and that's not it either. Has anybody else ever noticed this? Anyway, there's something there that's causing that difference. So is it a substance or is it a force? About the only breakdown there is to it, I think. I think if it were a substance, then we'd know about it. We've measured it somehow. So possibly an effect of a force. They say that the universe is 95% dark energy. Anyway, that's what made me think of the H2O water problem here. And there may be a simple solution to this, but let me show you what the problem is. I know that there is hydrogen and oxygen in water, but is that all there is to it? I mean, there's people all over YouTube that have made hydrogen cells. And by the way, this one's been pretty well debunked. I saw somebody else do it on their ride, and it made zero difference. And I don't know, I haven't looked into this guy. He says he can make a lawnmower run off of hydrogen. But I know you can electrolysis water and get hydrogen and run a supercar with it. So I know there's hydrogen in the water. The oxygen, I'm not sure what happens to it during this electrolysis process. I'm assuming that would be a hydrogen oxygen mix, but oxygen is necessary for combustion. But I'm not trying to say that there's not hydrogen and oxygen in water. I think it's both in there, but is that all there is? All right, let me make sure everybody's got their thinking caps on. Which one weighs more, a gallon of water or a gallon of ice? The gallon of water. Gallon is a measurement of volume, weight is the mass, and water is, I believe, the only substance known that actually expands when it freezes. So you would be able to fit less ice into the gallon than if it were just water. So a gallon of water weighs 8.3 pounds, a gallon of ice weighs 7.5, and the temperature is an important factor here. We're going to be talking about the frozen temperatures here of things, so we're going to go with 7.6 pounds, roughly. So here's the problem. A gallon of liquid oxygen weighs 9.5 pounds. And this is why I brought up the temperature, because in order for it to be liquid oxygen, it has to be at negative 380 degrees. But 1 gallon of liquid oxygen, 9.5 pounds. 1 gallon of liquid hydrogen, 0.59, we'll just call it 0.6 pounds. So one would logically think 2 gallons of hydrogen and 1 gallon of oxygen, H2O, would equal the same weight as water, right? So you've got 2 gallons of hydrogen at 0.6 pounds each, and then 1 gallon of oxygen at 9.5 pounds equals 10.7 pounds. And how many gallons of water should we have made here? 3, right? You got 2 gallons of hydrogen, 1 of oxygen. But 3 gallons of water, even using the lesser weight of ice, which is 7.6 pounds, equals 22.8 pounds. So how does water weigh almost twice as much as if you were to mix together a gallon of oxygen and 2 gallons of hydrogen? I mean, if you got an 80-pound bag of concrete and you mix in 20 pounds of water to it, then the concrete's going to weigh 100 pounds. Now, I'm probably completely ignorant of something here, and there's a simple answer for this. But logically speaking, I mean, that makes a lot of sense to me, you know. I would actually think that since the hydrogen and oxygen have to be more dense at the colder temperatures, that it would weigh more than the water. But, I mean, the numbers are just way, way off on that. Is there something there evading detection? I mean, that would be an equal part of invisible matter, but I would think that if it is some type of substance, we would have definitely measured it by now. So is it a force? You know, water is something that we really take for granted. It's universally needed for life. It's the universal solvent. It will break down anything given enough time. But it really is kind of a miracle substance that we have all the right conditions here for there to be liquid water. Anyway, I'm not going to go off into creation now. It's just a weird thing. I thought I'd show it to you guys. And yeah, is there some explanation for this that I'm missing? Let me know down in the comments. Static out.